Hi, this is the story of the tiny goal that transformed my life. So just a little bit of background. So I'm Dr. Sara. I'm a family physician, a wife, a mom of 5, and a movement coach and an exercise enthusiast. Definitely subscribe before I get into the video so that you can catch up on all the movement videos I have that keep movement doable and fitting into real mom life. So the goal that changed my life, background. I am someone that basically from college would set like New Year's resolutions. I was okay, this is gonna change and this is gonna change and here's what my workouts are gonna be. Like I was really into it in the beginning of the year. And like happens for a lot of people, I would maintain it through maybe the first few weeks of January, and I still was quite active throughout the year, but a lot of times things faded away, especially resolutions that were maybe like overhauling my entire life overnight. And I think a lot of times that's why we see what we see, right? Where you go to the gym on January 3rd and it's bumping, like you can't find a treadmill and there's everybody lifting weights, and then maybe on February 3rd, you're like, oh, it's definitely dwindled, it's getting emptier. And as the days and weeks through the year wear on, there's less and less people there. I think a lot of that has to do with sometimes setting goals or resolutions that are really overhauling your life. Because if you look at habits and how they're built and the evidence behind them, it doesn't work that way. It's very difficult to maintain that long term. And so, you know, at this point, I don't really do resolutions anymore. I really think about how I intend to be over the course of the year. And what I mean by that is like, what are my intentions for the year? How do I want to act? What are the things, you know, just like more holistically, I guess. And then I set goals. So there was one year where I was just tired of having the goal be something that felt so out of reach. And that's not to say I think setting stretch goals that are scary is really important for you to grow as a person. But sometimes I find, for me personally, my exercise and movement goals, especially if you're in a more delicate period of maybe you are postpartum, maybe you have been out of movement for a while for whatever reason, setting a goal like I'm gonna run a marathon maybe is a little too much of a stretch, right? So you want it to be something that feels doable, I think, especially in those vulnerable times. So there was one year that I was a few months postpartum in January, and instead of doing my usual thing, which was setting some like wild goal of like, okay, I'm gonna do 45 minutes a day and there's gonna be strength and cardio and stretching and meditation and like all these things. It was like, I think at that point I was postpartum with my 3rd. And at that point they were like 4 and under, I guess. So they're all my kids are close together in age. So I said, I'm gonna set this goal of doing something for 5 minutes a day that is moving my body. And I let everything count. I counted 5 minutes of meditation because to me, that was exercise for my brain. And it built in a contingency for maybe a day that I was sick, or maybe all the kids were sick, and maybe actually physically moving my body was gonna be something that I couldn't do. So meditation counted, stretching counted, walking outside, running on the treadmill, strength, anything, no matter what it was, I let all these things count for 5 minutes a day. And now that I have done that for, I'm not exactly sure how many days it's been, but it's now well over 1,000, probably 1,050 or something at this point. Excuse me. I can say that in looking back and reflecting on all of that time, setting that goal has changed my life. It has fully transformed my life. One, it helped me get over that all or none thinking of if I can't meet this bar of sports bra, super sweaty, like 45-minute workout, then it doesn't work and I'm going to do nothing. I was able to get over that obstacle, and I have never looked back, because now it's ingrained in me. Like, if I do something for 5 minutes, yes, it does count. Yes, it's worth it. Are there days that I do more? Yes, absolutely, but not every day. And it's okay if for that day, it doesn't work or it doesn't fit in. So I was able to overcome that all or none thinking. Another piece was setting that goal for movement and seeing what happened and how things exploded for me. I was able to use that technique in other areas of my life. So as an example, reading. You can imagine, if you're probably a mom if you're watching this, maybe you have little kids, maybe you don't, whatever their ages are. We're all busy, right? So things like reading can sometimes feel challenging. Like, how am I going to fit this in? And so when I decided I wanted to read more books, and it was like, how can I do this? Okay, I'm going to start with 5 minutes a day. And the thing that happens, and why this goal was so powerful for me, is your brain starts to identify as a person that does this. So for the movement piece, for me, it was like, I'm a person that moves my body every day. I'm a healthy person. I fuel a healthy body. I'm doing this for longevity, for myself, for my kids, for my husband, for my extended family. And your brain identifies as that person. And then, because you're focused on that, your brain starts to pick up spots where you can do more. Like, okay, I did 5 minutes, maybe I can do 7, maybe I can do 5 twice a day, maybe today's a day where I do 15 or 20, and things just start to expand almost organically. If you let them, if you just let your mind be open to that. And so that's what happened with reading for me also. It was like, okay, I'm going to do 5 minutes a day. And then I started to identify as somebody that reads books, and I noticed things happening. Like, I would go to pick up my phone to whatever, check my email. And then it was like, wait a minute, I'm going to actually pick up a book instead. The email can wait. And it sort of helped me better allot my time to the things that were more in line with how I wanted my identity to be, what my intentions were for the year. Because, ultimately, did I want my year to be me checking email and scrolling social media? No. These were other things that were important to me. And the crux of the issue is, how do you build them into your life in a habitual way? How do you make it a habit that's maintainable? And the thing that has worked for me is doing those, like setting the goal something small and doable, and then letting it expand over time. So yeah, that's how that goal transformed my life. And I think letting it be something that feels doable, that feels achievable, and then celebrating showing up. Not celebrating, I did 55 reps or I did this many weight, like that's amazing too. But I celebrated just showing up, like I did it. I did those 5 minutes no matter what it was. And then you start to feel so proud of yourself and so confident that you're taking that action, that you're doing something for yourself, that you're heading in the right direction of where you want to be. It builds this momentum, it builds this excitement, and it just is like the sky is the limit from there. So I hope telling my story of this tiny goal that I set and did it consistently, how it transformed and changed my life. I hope that this helps even one person watching with how they're feeling about 2026, how they're feeling about their year. It can be small. Small steps add up. Small action adds up to massive transformation. And, if you're a physician mom watching this that's postpartum, and you're in that phase of feeling overwhelmed with getting back to movement, feeling overwhelmed with goal setting and life and intentions and all of this stuff, and almost feeling like, whose body is this and where is mine? Like, who am I? And yes, you are someone that's not just your baby's mom, you are you. But after a pregnancy and postpartum journey, sometimes it can feel really difficult. It can almost feel like, where am I? Like, you sort of lose yourself sometimes, I think. And that was my experience, and that was part of my desire to create a channel like this to show you how movement can be something that can fit into your life and can be doable. And so, if that is resonating with you, if you are looking for a space that's non-judgmental, non-intimidating, where you want to see how your life can transform, even in just a few minutes a day, how you can have that energy you want for your day, where you can choose to do things because you are excited about them and energized, and you're able to be the mom that you want to be, the physician that you want to be, the daughter, the wife, all the different things that you have in your life. Definitely jump into my bio, click the link to schedule a free 30-minute movement call with me. We can talk about what that would look like for you and how that transformation can happen and what it can be. Definitely subscribe so you never miss a video. Schedule that movement call. So glad you guys are here watching. Thank you so much. Remember, movement is medicine. All right, cheering for you always. Bye, everyone.